She kept gushing about her work husband. So I sent him a thank you card, then everything collapsed. The sushi lunches, the private jokes, the way she lit up saying his name, I noticed it all. She thought I'd just take it. Instead, I mailed a card that set off a chain reaction no one saw coming. Amelia had always been ambitious, and I respected that about her. She wasn't loud about it, not showy. But when she wanted something, she got it. When she landed the senior analyst role after just 2.5 years, I was proud. I told everyone, even brought flowers to her office. That's when I first heard the name Gregory. At first, it was just in passing. Gregory said this. Or, Gregory really liked my report. It didn't set off alarms. I work in risk assessment. My whole job is evaluating what's actually dangerous versus what just feels that way. And nothing about a good manager praising a talented employee seemed risky. But soon, it wasn't just about work. She'd come home smiling, phone in hand. I'd ask about her day, and she'd light up, but not because of the work itself. Because of him. Gregory brought in these amazing croissants from that place downtown, she'd say. He even remembered I don't like almond. Or, Gregory told me I should be leading meetings now. He said I have presence. I smiled. Nodded. Listened. And filed it away. The shift came subtly. She started calling him her work husband. At first, it was a joke. A throwaway line. But it started repeating. Gaining texture. My work husband saved me today. I was drowning in emails. My work husband gets me coffee just how I like it, unlike some people. My work husband said he can't believe I'm not already a VP. I'd chuckle lightly the first few times. But my stomach would twist, just a little. I knew about emotional affairs. I'd seen friends lose marriages over them. It's not about sex. It's about where your loyalty, your emotional energy, goes. One night I brought it up. Hey, I said gently. Can I ask something without it turning into a thing? She looked up from her phone, a little annoyed. Sure. This work husband stuff, it just sounds a little close. The way you talk about him. I don't want to be insecure, but... Oh my God! She groaned, rolling her eyes. You're being so dramatic. It's just a joke. Everybody says that. Grow up, Liam. I swallowed it. Said nothing more. That night I couldn't sleep. My brain kept looping like a stuck algorithm. Something didn't add up. I started running mental models, behavioral patterns, escalation probability, relationship degradation timelines. She wasn't cheating. Yet. But she was already somewhere else in her mind. And I was quickly becoming the fallback. The placeholder. I didn't confront her again. I started listening more closely instead. Watching her routines. Tracking what days she came home glowing and which nights she seemed distracted. I wasn't angry. I was calculating. I told myself I'd know if the risk became active. And when it did, I wouldn't fight. I wouldn't beg. I'd exit the equation like a professional. Clean. Sharp. Decisive. Because some betrayals don't need revenge. They need exposure. And Amelia was writing her own report, she just didn't know I was reading it. It was a Thursday, pasta night. Nothing fancy, just penne with marinara and garlic bread from the freezer. Amelia was already seated when I brought the plates over. She didn't look up from her phone. Thanks, she mumbled, fingers flying across the screen. Long day? I asked. She smiled without looking at me. Not really. Gregory made the afternoon hilarious. He started doing impressions during our Zoom call. Everyone was dying. I took a sip of water. He sounds entertaining. She finally looked up, eyes sparkling. He's the best. Honestly, work would suck without him. She scrolled again, then laughed. Oh my God, he just sent me a picture of the sad salad he got for lunch. He said I spoiled him with yesterday's sushi. You bought him sushi? I asked evenly. She shrugged. It's just lunch. We take turns sometimes. And then came the line. You better step up. My work husband is feeding me better than you. She said it like a joke, but her tone wasn't playful. There was a curl to her lip. A glint in her eye. Like she was testing something. I didn't react right away. Just kept chewing. But inside, something cold settled. That phrase didn't just cross a line, it spit on it. That wasn't affection. That was a warning shot. A message. I'm desired. I have options. You're slipping. I looked at her, really looked at her. And for the first time in a long while, I didn't see the woman I loved. I saw someone rehearsing a new life, one I wasn't part of. You're right, I said quietly. She blinked. What? You're right. I need to step up. She tilted her head, cautious now. I was just joking, Liam. Don't be weird. I smiled. No, you're right. Can't let your work husband show me up. That'd be embarrassing. She chuckled nervously and changed the subject. But the conversation was over for me. That night, after she went to bed, I stayed at the table with my laptop. I started building a timeline, pulling public data, cross-referencing her calendar with meal charges on our joint account, looking up Gregory. He wasn't just her boss, he was divorced, 6 years older, and according to company newsletters had a reputation for mentorship. I read every line like a risk report. But I didn't feel panic. I felt confirmation. This wasn't salvageable. Not because she'd slept with him, I had no evidence of that. But because she'd left me emotionally. Long ago. And now she was using our home, our life, as a staging ground for her next move. I didn't yell. I didn't confront. I didn't try to win her back. I started planning my exit, not to punish her, but to protect myself. I pulled copies of all our shared financial documents, isolated my assets, updated my emergency contacts and passwords. I even checked our lease agreement for move-out clauses. Each step was quiet, clinical. I left no trace. Because I'd realized something that night, over garlic bread and her smug little smirk. Amelia didn't think I'd ever leave. She thought she could flirt with the line, cross it, joke about it, and I'd just absorb it. Play the nice guy role. The doormat. The default. But she'd miscalculated. I wasn't emotional. I was logical. And when something shows clear signs of failure, I don't argue. I cut it loose. And then I write the report. It took 2 weeks for the idea to form completely. I hadn't said anything more to Amelia. I played my part, the supportive, slightly clueless boyfriend. I let her ramble about Gregory, nodding at all the right moments. She seemed to take my silence as surrender, or worse, indifference. That was fine. It made the rest easier. While she gushed about her work husband, I quietly pulled their company's code of conduct from the website. It was all there, strict policies on relationships between managers and direct reports, disclosure requirements, rules around gifts. Amelia had violated most of them. She thought her charm and Gregory's influence made them untouchable. But companies don't care about charm. They care about liability. If someone documents impropriety, HR takes notice. So I decided to give them something to notice. I ordered a blank thank you card. Something simple, classy. Then I sat down at our dining table and wrote in my neatest handwriting. Dear Gregory, thank you for taking such great care of Amelia these past few months. She talks about you constantly, the sushi lunches, the daily coffee runs, even your special nickname for her. I've never seen her so energized about work. I just wanted to say how much I appreciate you going above and beyond for her. You've truly made an impact. Warm regards, Liam. Then I slipped a $50 Starbucks gift card inside. The perfect amount. Enough to be considered a gift, not so much it seemed overblown. A quiet red flag wrapped in gratitude. I mailed it to Gregory's office with the tracking number. 3 days later, it was signed for. That same afternoon, I noticed Amelia's mood shift when she got home. Her smile was tighter. She didn't bring up Gregory at all that night. Or the next. I said nothing. I wasn't expecting instant fallout. Corporate machines move slowly. But when they move, they grind. All I had to do was keep living like everything was normal. Inside, I felt no guilt. No anger. Just a low, steady hum of clarity. This wasn't revenge. It was exposure. I wasn't inventing lies or setting traps. I was just shining a light on the truths she'd been hiding behind a smirk. On a whim, I checked our shared Amazon account and saw she'd ordered a new set of heels. Expensive. Red. She never wore red. Maybe they were for a future date. Maybe not. I didn't care. Because now the clock was ticking. Whatever happened next, I wouldn't need to raise my voice or beg for respect. That was the old Liam. The new Liam let the truth speak for itself. And truth has a habit of burning clean. She came home early. That was my first clue. I was on the couch, laptop open, halfway through a client risk report, when the door slammed, not closed, slammed, and Amelia stormed in, hair frizz from the wind, heels in her hand, face pale. She dropped her bag on the floor and spun toward me. What did you do? I blinked. Hey, you're home early. Don't play stupid, Liam, she hissed. Why would you send a card to Gregory? I closed my laptop gently. You got it. She threw her heels down. You think this is funny? HR called both of us into a meeting today. They had your letter printed out. The Starbucks card. Everything. I raised my eyebrows. Didn't they like my handwriting? Her jaw clenched so hard I thought she might crack a molar. You blindsided me. You embarrassed me at work. I shrugged. I just thanked a man for feeding and emotionally supporting my girlfriend. That's not illegal, is it? It's manipulative, Liam. You made it sound like I was doing exactly what you were doing? She froze. I stood up slowly. You called him your work husband. He buys you gifts. You gush about him at home. You act like I'm a roommate while you flirt with a promotion, or something else. She stepped back, suddenly less sure of herself. That's not what this is. Then explain it. Her eyes darted. We're just close. I admire him. Then why did HR care? She didn't answer. Because you crossed a line, Amelia. And you thought you could keep skating on charm and plausible deniability. But you left a trail. And I just pointed it out. Her face crumpled for the first time. Liam, I didn't cheat on you. No, I said, walking past her to the bedroom. You just made me feel like a placeholder for someone you respected more. I came back out with a duffel bag. What is that? You're leaving tonight. She laughed, a hollow sound. You're kidding. Nope. I paid the lease, the bills. The furniture's mine. Your name's not on anything but the Netflix account. You're kicking me out over a thank you card? No. I'm kicking you out because the moment I expressed concern, you mocked me. Then you deepened the behavior. Then you lied. And when your fantasy came crashing down, you played the victim. She dropped into a chair like her legs had given out. I don't have anywhere to go. I'm sure Gregory has a couch, I said calmly. That broke something in her. Her voice rose, sharp and defensive. You're so petty. So insecure. You sabotaged me because you can't handle a powerful woman getting attention. I tilted my head. I sabotaged you? Or did I just hand HR a mirror? We sat in silence for a long moment. Then I said, You have until midnight to pack your things. After that, the locks change. Her eyes widened. You wouldn't. I nodded. I would. And I already scheduled it. She didn't scream. Didn't cry. She just stared at me with this stunned, eerie quiet. Like she finally understood I was serious. When she walked into the bedroom to start packing, I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel sad. I felt clean. Like I'd finally taken my life back from someone who'd slowly hollowed it out, one smirk, one joke, one sushi lunch at a time. And I didn't need revenge. I had peace. For a few blessed days it was quiet. No Amelia. No buzzing phone. No Gregory-laced conversations over dinner. Just silence, and the smell of clean sheets. I slept deeper than I had in months. But peace, like most things, was temporary. It started with a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. Then another. Then texts. This is Amelia's father. We need to talk. You crossed the line, young man. This can still be fixed if you apologize. Call me back, Liam. Be a man. I didn't respond. Then came Zara, Amelia's best friend and enabler since college. She sent me a wall of text that started with, wow, and spiraled into accusations of misogyny, betrayal, and ironically emotional abuse. She said I'd ruined Amelia's entire career over a stupid card. Funny. I didn't realize HR investigations moved that fast. I ignored her too. But they kept coming. One morning I had 7 voicemails. I deleted them all without listening. But then the emails started. Amelia's dad sent one through my work address. Subject: reparations and resolution. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. The email was 3 paragraphs of condescending outrage. He accused me of being jealous, vindictive, emotionally unstable. Claimed Amelia was devastated and seeking counseling, and that I had, publicly humiliated, a man with an impeccable professional record. He ended by saying I had 14 days to send Amelia $7,500 for relocation and job search assistance, or he'd consider legal remedies. I laughed out loud. I forwarded it to Ben, my lawyer friend. He read it and responded with a single line. Tell Daddy Warbucks to go kick rocks. I've got this. Ben drafted a response so calm, so surgically polite, it made me wish I could frame it. He quoted housing law, clarified joint assets, and included a breakdown of how Amelia had benefited from my income during our cohabitation. Then he added a note that if further contact was made, we'd consider a counterclaim for emotional distress and slander. The next day, everything went quiet again. But I wasn't done cleaning up. I called our credit card company and froze the shared account, the one she hadn't used since moving out, but still had access to. Then I contacted the car dealership. See the car Amelia drove? I'd financed it. She just made the monthly payments, late most months. With her job gone, those payments stopped. So I did what any logical man would do. I called the bank, explained the situation, and initiated repossession. Not out of spite, out of necessity. It was my name on the loan. My credit on the line. 3 days later she called. Blocked number. I picked up out of morbid curiosity. You're unbelievable. She spat. Hi, Amelia. You're having my car repossessed? Are you insane? Unpaid debts have consequences, I said evenly. You're destroying my life. No, I corrected. I just stopped letting you borrow mine. Click. She didn't call back. And as I sat on the couch, sipping my coffee in the silence she used to fill with laughter and lies, I realized something. They never thought I'd actually stand up for myself. They thought they could rewrite the story, that I'd be the bitter ex, the scorned loser who lashed out. But I didn't scream. I didn't fight dirty. I just let the truth do its work. And the truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs to be documented. I didn't ask for updates. I wasn't checking LinkedIn or snooping on ex-coworkers. But information has a funny way of surfacing, especially when someone's downfall becomes workplace gossip. A mutual friend named Eric texted me out of nowhere. Bro, Gregory's out. Like, full-on demotion. Amelia too. Heard it from Dan in compliance. I stared at the message for a long time before replying. Wow. That was all I said. But inside? There was a strange stillness. No glee, no vindication. Just quiet confirmation. Like watching a fault line finally split open after months of tremors. According to Eric, Gregory wasn't fired, but stripped of his team and reassigned to a non-client-facing role. HR cited breach of boundaries and managerial misconduct. The kicker? Apparently, there had been prior complaints. Mine just added weight. Amelia, however, wasn't so lucky. Her termination was immediate. Violation of professional conduct and policy. No severance. And that's when things got loud again. It started with another email, this time from a different lawyer. A real one. Not Amelia's dad with a Gmail account. The subject line chilled me. Demand for damages, intentional interference with employment. They wanted $50,000. Apparently I'd intentionally caused reputational harm and employment loss. Through malicious correspondence. They claimed emotional damages, professional defamation, and said my actions were vindictive and unlawful. Ben's laughter echoed through the speakerphone when I read it to him. This is the legal version of a toddler throwing a plate at the wall, he said. We drafted a response, sharp, measured, and devastatingly factual. Ben included timestamps, screen captures of text from Amelia praising Gregory, and an itemized list of company policy violations pulled directly from their own website. He attached a photo of the card and the gift receipt. His final paragraph was a masterstroke. If your client would prefer we pursue damages for fraudulent misrepresentation of cohabitating financial obligations and defamation through third-party communications, we are prepared to file within the week. Otherwise, we consider this matter closed. We never heard from them again. No retraction. No apology. Just silence. I sat with that for a while. Let it settle in. Amelia had built her professional image on confidence, likability, and the illusion of ethical strength. Gregory had climbed the ladder by mentoring attractive subordinates and knowing how to play politics. But their foundation was weak. and when exposed to scrutiny it crumbled fast. The thank you card was never the cause, it was the flashlight. And now that the dust had cleared, I felt something I hadn't in months. Safe. No more backhanded comments. No more walking on eggshells. No more games. Just peace. I'd done what most people are too afraid to. I chose self-respect over comfort. I let the truth sting, and let the consequences sting harder. But even then, I knew there was one more move coming. Amelia wasn't done yet. And I wasn't surprised when it arrived. Because narcissists never say goodbye. They just reload. It was a Saturday when the doorbell rang. I was halfway through folding laundry, music playing low in the background, when I saw two figures through the peephole, Amelia, and a police officer. I opened the door calmly. "Mr. Dawson?" the officer asked. I nodded. "That's me. I'm here to supervise a civil standby. Ms. Hartley is here to retrieve some belongings she claims are still inside." I turned to Amelia. She looked different. Defeated. Hair tied back in a rush ponytail, no makeup, eyes sunken with exhaustion. But there was still that glint, that stubborn entitlement. I opened the door wider. "Fine. She's got 10 minutes. The officer nodded. "Appreciate your cooperation." Amelia stepped in like she still lived there, eyes darting over the space like she was scanning for missed treasure. She went straight to the bedroom, grabbed a couple boxes I'd neatly stacked weeks ago, labeled, sealed, untouched. Then she paused by the hallway desk. "That one's mine," she said. "It was my grandmother's." I crossed my arms. "No. I have the receipt. I bought that desk from Westwell Furniture last spring." She scoffed. "My dad said it matches one we used to have when I was a kid. It's the same make. Probably the same desk." I stepped into the hallway, pulled open the bottom drawer, and handed her the laminated receipt. She stared at it, cheeks coloring. The officer cleared his throat. "Ma'am, unless you have documentation that says otherwise, you can't remove that item." She looked at me, really looked at me, and for the first time, I saw it, not anger. Not contempt. Embarrassment. She muttered something I couldn't hear, then turned back to the living room, grabbing the boxes. The officer followed her out. I stood at the door as she walked down the front steps. Halfway to her dad's car, the same black SUV that used to park in our driveway like it owned the place, she turned back. "You think you're better than everyone now?" I shook my head. "No. I just stopped pretending I was less." She didn't respond. I shut the door, locked it, and slid the deadbolt with a sense of finality I hadn't felt until that moment. After she left, I walked room to room. No more traces of her. No more fake laughs echoing in the walls. No more late-night whispers on the phone about Gregory being such a genius. Just stillness. I opened the windows, let in the October breeze, brewed coffee and sat on the porch. For the first time in years, I wasn't waiting for a shift in tone, a snide comment, or the weight of being compared to someone else. I was alone. But I wasn't lonely. Over the next weeks, I restructured my routines. Repainted the living room. Closed our joint accounts. Had dinner with friends I hadn't seen in months. People who said, "You look lighter." Because I was. People think strength looks like shouting, or slamming doors, or elaborate revenge. But it's not. Sometimes strength is writing a thank you card when you want to scream. Sometimes it's letting the consequences do what your words never could. And sometimes, it's just living well. Quietly. On your own terms.